Hello and welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. Well, Caitlin Clark's alleged stalker, after being arrested, shows up in court today on Tuesday, January 14th. And when you read about what went down in court, you can't help but be glad that they were able to arrest this guy. Here is the alleged stalker in court on Tuesday, Michael Thomas Lewis, on Tuesday, January 14th. I mean, he just looks like he's got issues. He looks like he needs to be locked up and stay locked up. And I'm just saying it. He just looked like he's got issues. Okay. And obviously he does. I know I guess legally I'm supposed to say allegedly this guy has issues. Okay. So I've done my legal duty. Over here at NBC News, it says Caitlin Clark's alleged stalker says he wants to stay in jail and yells he's guilty as charged in court, which is interesting because he declared he's guilty as charged on Tuesday before a judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. So guilty, he says, and yet his plea is not guilty. He's 55. He let out multiple outbursts during his appearance on Tuesday, which was his first appearance in court. He's accused of making a series of vulgar, threatening, sorry about that. NBC News, get it together. He's accused of making a series of vulgar, threatening online statements at Caitlin. And moments after the Marion County Superior Court Judge Angela Davis called Lewis's case, the defendant, without prompting, shouted out that he's guilty as charged. Some other things he's shouted out: throw me the bookie, and I'm free. I guess you got the wrong guy. While also complaining that his name didn't include a junior in court records. So I'm guilty as charged, and then the not guilty plea, throw me the bookie, and then he yells, I guess you got the wrong guy. This guy allegedly has some major issues. So every time he spoke out of turn, the courtroom deputies approached him and told him to sit up and not to interrupt. So Judge Davis read through the charges that Lewis terrorized, frightened, or threatened Clark and caused a, quote, reasonable fear of sexual battery. And he said, can I say something? And then he was told, not yet. Then when asked if he suffers mental illness, he said, I need my medicines. And then when he asked if he needs an attorney, he said, I need my medicines. He went on, the article says, to confirm that he cannot afford an attorney. He's not working. When they asked if he resides in Texas, he says, sort of. I live in my vehicle. But of course, you remember, he showed up in Indianapolis, and that's where he was arrested. He said he has $100 in savings, and that, he talked about what his car might be worth. He signed court orders agreeing to stay away from Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home arena of the Indiana Fever, to have no contact with Clark. And I'm thinking, yeah, because you need to stay in jail. Like, that shouldn't even be an issue. Of course you're going to stay away from Clark because you need to be staying away from everybody. So he also was barred from entering Hinkle Fieldhouse, where Clark's boyfriend, Butler University assistant basketball coach Connor McCaffrey, works. And so he was told, if you violate stay away or no contact orders, the court will revoke your bond. I'm thinking, like I said, we need to make sure people who are threatening, have threats and telling people they're around their house 3 times a day and having this, what do you call, fantasy relationship, they don't need to be out. Sorry, but that's just the way it goes. But he It says Judge Taylor entered a plea of not guilty on behalf of Lewis and ordered him held in lieu of $50,000 bond. If he were able to come up with that money, Lewis would need to stay in Indiana and wear a GPS monitor. He doesn't need to be out. Anyway, he said he has no intention of posting bond. He said, I don't want bond, bail, whatever. I'm here, I'm staying. And so he got a court-appointed defense attorney. And Lewis is charged with one count of stalking, accused of engaging in a quote course of conduct involving involving repeated or continuing harassment of Caitlin Clark that will cause a reasonable person to feel terrorized. And that was the complaint filed, should say, by Marion County prosecutors. So from the 16th of December to January 2nd, he used X to send a series of vulgar, sexually graphic messages to Clark. And they found him through an IP address. So weird. Creepy. And I mean, you want to talk about the EGBG, someone who's living in his car. He's 55 years old. He's got a fake fantasy relationship with Caitlin Clark, says he's going around her house, you know, all the sexual stuff, etc. And yet, if he had $50,000, he'd be able to get out of there. Whew. Anyway, hopefully he will be locked up as he should be. And yeah, it just totally creeps me out. I can't even imagine. And the thing about it is that Caitlin, what the story that I shared yesterday, the reporting that I shared yesterday, it says it's caused her to kind of disguise herself. It's caused her to it's changed the way she lives, places she goes, et cetera. And so, and she's Caitlin Clark. I mean, so it's hard to be disguised. And if you like kind of want to zip in on a basketball game somewhere, your face is going to be up on the Jumbotron. So there's that too. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I'm glad he's locked up. I hope he stays locked up. And I don't know, because anybody who says not guilty, but then yells out, I'm guilty, and then says you got the wrong guy, and then says, I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying. I mean, it's just absolutely weird. So God bless her. All right. I'll catch you next time, God willing. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. God bless you abundantly.